Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Railroader Academy. We are Railroaders Play Railroads Online, and today's class is the Passenger Train 110. And we're here in Mohonk. You may have remembered this from Mohonk from a couple of weeks ago when we were running 701, or running an extra train up to the refinery. But we're here in Mohonk. We're running passenger trains tonight, and passenger trains are near and dear to my heart. It's where I got my start in railroading, working at a tourist railroad. Moved in the short line from there, so we're coming back to my roots right now, and I'm extra in the passenger mood because I get to go back. It's my first day of steam season's coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. So I'm like extra in the passenger train mood and mindset. So welcome. Naturally, I am Professor Casey.
And I'm Professor Nick, back from my hiatus of last week, or my sabbatical, I guess I should say. And I am looking forward to today's trip because being conductor on the passenger train means I'm overseeing the tea service. So I'm getting
Yes,
the ovens, stoves would be more the appropriate terminology here. The stoves fired up in preparation for our award-winning beverage service.
correct. So we got our passenger train here, our cursed passenger train, as it was proudly proclaimed on our stream with Heiss when he was on as a guest lecturer in our California Zephyr dome car bobber caboose things. It's cursed, we know, but it's fun. Passenger train ops are uh, so much fun to try and fit around freight. First things first, coming on duty with a passenger train, we got our power tied on to our cars. We have mixed freight, so we have a mixed train, so we have freight along with our passenger cars. So we have work to do along the railroad. Uh, so we have a waybill, and what you do is when you're running a passenger train, you go over all of your what's the word I'm looking for? You have a job briefing. It's who's doing what, where you're going, what work you're doing along the way. So Nick is conductor of Train 98, our little job briefing. I am engineer. Uh, we've got three cars that we're picking up from Mohawk and bringing to Hill Valley Yard. Those are 333, 517, and 505. We have three passenger cars, which loads are called transfer on our sheet, but that's neither here nor there. Those coaches are Catterskill, Roundout, and Mohawk, which I see Roundout right in front of me on the screen. But we'll go ahead and check those. And going down the list at Hill Valley Yard, I'm picking up car 314, 403, and 320 with wrought iron, oil barrels, and lumber. I'm bringing those to. Oh, that's a mistake on there. That should say Ahsoken, not Mohonk. Whoops. So we're just going to ignore that, pretend that says Ahsoken there. And we're picking up boxcar 1001 at Met and bringing the Hill Valley Yard, which Train 98 doesn't go back to Hill Valley Yard, so that's going to have to get tacked on to 99 and head back, but that's a waybill for the future. So, Nick, do we have 333, 517, and 505 with us?
We have 333, the empty flat car, 517, the hopper, and 505, the hopper.
All right, so we got our train. So that's our job briefing out of the way. We'll set these out at. We'll come in on the main at Hill Valley. We'll set these out. We'll pick up our pickups, and then we'll head out to Meh. We have a couple of passenger stops along the way. We're going to be stopping at Hurley, Hill Valley, Meh, and Plateau, and then Ahsoken. So we got some passenger stops to contend with as well. And we'll talk about how to deal with those stops as we get there. But it is. We are on our timetable authority, and it looks like you just dropped out of the game, Nick, didn't you?
That is correct.
Oh,
So
fun.
I am in the process of reloading, but I will probably be reloading in Hill Valley, which means I'm going to be
I'll meet you at
hoofing it
Hurley.
to, yes, hoofing it to wherever. Yep, I am back in Hill Valley, so
Alright, so I'll meet you at Hill Valley when you load in.
sounds good.
Alright,
So
so.
our complimentary beverage service will be delayed today. But we do thank you for tuning in tonight with us here on Railroaders Play Railroads Online as part of the Virtual Railroader Academy. And I see a nice conversation going on in the chat. I appreciate 6777 Productions pointing out that nothing is ever cursed on the railroad. It's just unique. And I like that sentiment. I think that is a lovely sentiment.
I agree. And there's a lot of uniqueness to railroads. Uh,
Uh,
Hello, who are you?
Train, uh, Train 701 dispatch.
Go ahead, 701.
I'm approaching Mile Long Yard. Do you want me to go into the hole?
Yes, you're taking the hole. I'm coming in on the main.
Understood. Thank you.
I believe that would be our chief engineer, our chief over engineer that has joined you, Mr. Mr. Rudy Lowry.
Yeah, I'm
Keep
here.
keep everyone entertained, guys. I gotta step away for a hot sec.
Well, in looking over at more of the class discussion, um, Jeff 9219 says I was playing Railroads Online with a buddy, and he said to me, "You're the worst train driver ever. How many have you derailed?" I said, "I'm not sure. It's hard to keep track." Uh, I would appreciate that. Oh no, no, no. So I'm
Well, you
well,
keep everyone entertained.
I'm
Oh
keeping
dear.
them entertained by the fact that I'm talking about a pawn at the exact same time that our train has just gone through a switch set the wrong way. And is thus derailing itself spectacularly. Uh uh I mean, so I have arranged this as a demonstration of how easy it is to forget which way your switches have been lined, um, and thus a reminder to all of you who are tuning in tonight that safety is very important. Even more important, I mean, always important, but when you are in charge of a passenger train, um, very, very important for obvious reasons. You will note, fortunately, the cabooses have remained upright. I would say the tea hasn't been spilled, except we haven't done our tea service yet. Um, so we don't have to worry about the tea. So that is a good thing. Um, But yes, we thank you for tuning in tonight and remind you that we are live every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern. It would appear that yes, we are joined once again by uh, our host, Professor Casey. Professor, you can see that we've done a wonderful job of demonstrating um, the significance of ensuring that switches are locked in line for the main.
Train 701 will have to ask dispatch if if I should wait in the hole here or just continue on toward Mohonk with that hiccup in mind.
No, just wait there. Um, our chief engineer is getting everything sorted out, so just hang tight there.
Understood.
Look very sorted out to me.
I admire the flying tenders, though. That was a nice flourish. Um, so well, while we're waiting for Casey to rejoin us, I will make a point in saying how, for me, as a rail historian and fan, uh, I love the mixed train. There's such a rich history of mixed trains operating throughout the country, and if you are a fan of the Mix Train, I highly recommend you pick up a copy of the book Mix Train Daily by Lucius Beebe and Charles Clegg. It is from 1947 and documents a ton of railroads that, frankly, I'd never heard of before, and all sorts of photos from around the US of mixed train operations, and is a very unique book because it's not a reflection back on things. It's more of a reflection on what existed at the time, but they recognized would not exist forever. So that is recommended reading for as homework to this course. You could get a copy on eBay for relatively cheap. Um, and while it is easy to assume that the mixed train is no longer with us today, that is not entirely true. Yes, it is increasingly hard to find true mixed train operations outside of, say, a photo charter on a tourist railroad. But they do exist. An example that I can cite where I've been on a mixed train is the Oil Creek and Titusville Railroad. It's a tourist railroad out of western Pennsylvania, and they operate excursion service May through late fall. And they have an interchange with the Western New York and Pennsylvania Railroad, so they will oftentimes tack revenue freight cars on with their excursion train. So that is quite a sight to behold. And also, what's kind of nifty is they run with an open air car. So and they use Alcos. So you're talking a railroad where you could ride behind an Alco in an open air car right next to a freight car. It does not get much better than that. So if you know where to look, you can find yourself mixed trains to this day. Meanwhile, we are continuing to reassemble our flyer. One more, Jeff. I don't know. Well, I can take one more. I'm a fan of puns. You say, what you call someone who looks just like you on a passing train, a doppelganger. I think I get it. I don't think it's an amazing one, but I think I get it. Yes, the derail counter, in fact, Ninja is one. I'm gonna pull this ahead, and you could try dropping the pin in. We'll see if that takes care of that. Okay, easing forward.
I think this is one of those ones where only the host can drop the pin in the drawbar.
Oh, is that how it works? Wait,
That's-
I'm full power. Oh, because the brake's backwards on this thing, right? Okay, easing forward.
The coupling two Eureka's together is always a pain.
Okay, plan B. We will just shove the front unit with the rear unit, and that way we can get underway, and then later we will have the benefit of making that work. So we'll just just couple the rear unit, and we'll shove the lead unit, and I think that'll be the way to make it work.
Hey, I'm back, guys. So sorry about that. Had a little kitty cat issues here.
That's quite all right.
Yeah, I see there was a problem.
There was. We did well. No, there wasn't a problem. It was a demonstration of what happens when a switch is improperly lined for the siding, and one watches on the live stream in horror as two engines run themselves off the line.
Nice.
At slow speed. So
I
it was a good demonstration.
I mean, in our defense, we were left unsupervised, so
This is also true.
yes.
We believe that you are the one who's going to have to be the pin dropper on this.
Okay. Someone
Because for
want
some
to
reason
bring the engine forward a hair?
I will.
Lead engine?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, nope, stop, back up. Stop. 6, stop.
Got it.
7, come back slow.
Got it.
What numbers are you?
Oh wait, we're not 6 and 7. All right,
6.
Nick,
I-
go ahead
I'm
a
s-
hair.
I'm in
Okay.
Hill Valley Yard and I'm standing aboard number 7 at the moment, so I was very confused. I
Okay, nope,
presumed-
this whoever's in this 8, stop. Okay. Now come back, Nick.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my cat's paws had a little bit of blood on it, so had to chase her down. And look at it. Thankfully, it was just a nail was starting to grow into the pad, and we got it soon. Got it.
Alrighty.
All right. All right. So Hostler, you're gonna stay here and catch Squiggy, or you want to ride with us, the Squiggy?
I can catch Squeaky's train if he needs help.
Yeah, he will. All right, Nick, you want to run the lead engine? Or you want me to run the lead engine?
I got the lead engine.
All right. So we're gonna give it a little power, nice and gentle. Pick up those cars slowly. We don't want to jostle the folks in the varnish.
To your question, Kolokni, does the Strasbourg Railroad MPA move freight too sometimes? They do. They don't do mixed trains though these days. When they're moving their freight, it's designated moves. And these days it's been mainly with the diesel. I have had the fortune of being on one of their mixed trains in the past. It is a cool experience. It is a very cool experience. I will not lie.
Alright, now that we've picked up all the cars, Nick, we can take our throttles pretty much out to the nut and get the
Gotcha.
express flying.
Sounds good. So,
Aside
beginning.
from derailing, did I miss anything?
You did not.
Okay.
So, a good place to start off tonight's conversation would be, in general, what are one's, as an engineer, what are your extra considerations that you're making with handling a passenger train that you might not be making with freight?
I am more concerned about train handling with passengers. With freight, I know I can kind of throw the cars around a little bit. I know I can shove hard against a car with an application on a car. I know I can shove a car around with no air on them at all and just kind of kick it around. So, with passengers, I want to be gentle. I want to be very gentle with every single move that I do. Generally moving passenger cars with passengers on them, they have to be aired up. Naturally, that's not a thing we have in game. So in game it's a little bit more of a challenge, right? Because we don't have air to set up to work against. So we got to think about our moves further ahead than we would otherwise. You're doing that in modern day too. You're thinking about, all right, I got a station stop coming up. I got to set up a little bit of air now. And really let that set propagate and start doing stuff before you go ahead and start making changes to grab more air, grab more throttle. You're thinking, instead of 10 steps ahead, you're thinking 20 steps ahead. We should be coming up to a switch soon, just making sure that that's lined for us.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Train 701 has some questions for dispatch.
Yeah, go ahead, 701. That's lined for us, Nick.
I'm unable to see my full way bill, so I'm assuming that I'm dropping off cars 413 and 409 at Hill Valley. Are the rest going to Refinery?
Yes, rest are going to refinery. Those two are going to Mohawk.
Mohawk, that's what I meant to say.
And we are train 98 is through Rattling Valley. Rudy, if you want to run on out to Plateau, there's a train that needs to head on up to the iron mine to get loaded with raw iron. Or not raw iron, iron ore.
I was actually in the middle of putting 601 together.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah, I'm actually tying on the train momentarily, and then I will be ready to head south whenever there is clear track to do so.
Alright, you can depart once
Also, I assume-
once Nick and I arrive in Hill Valley.
The valley. Okay.
Yeah.
I also assumed that I was taking both 6 and 7
Yes.
because they were pulled together, and I wasn't taking a 23 car train with one engine.
Yeah, that's
So,
correct assumption.
excellent. All right. Well, with that, then I am in the clear in Hill Valley and tied together. So as soon as you guys get in, I'm ready to go.
Alright, we are making our way there still.
You guys are coming in on the west side of the freight house, right?
Correct. The main that has the set out on northbound side.
Excellent. I will line you into that.
Thank you very much.
In terms of train blocking,
Mhm.
we have our freight cars ahead of our passenger cars, which puts us, in terms of handling those with comfort, at a bit of a disadvantage, since that allows for more slack action, correct?
This is true. But it's kind of your trade-off. So you don't want to be switching with your passenger cars. You want to get to where you're going, you want to cut away from your passenger cars, do all your switching. You don't know how many sidings you're going to have there. Usually it's the main and a siding and the track to set out on. Usually it could just be the main and the track to set out on, as we'll see when we get to Meh. So if the freight cars were behind the passenger cars, you then have those freight cars slamming into your passenger cars, which is worse for train handling. You also need to do all of your switching with your passengers tied onto you. Whereas here, we can cut away from our passenger cars, do all our switching moves. So it's the trade-offs. Freight cars tend to set up a little bit slower than passenger cars with air. So your passenger cars will usually grab behind the freight cars and pull you backwards a little bit. So there is some finesse to train handling, but not every car sets up the same on a passenger train anyway. Last season we were dealing with a car that we called it the dynamite car. Not that it would go into emergency, which is what you usually call dynamiting a car, but that you'd take a 6-pound set, the car would be fine. You'd take an 8-pound set, and the car would grab. So the car would grab an insane amount. You would feel like the train get jerked a little bit. So you had to be really. There was a lot of finesse to taking your sets with that car and the train, and it was like that the whole season. From what I heard, they think they got it worked out. They think they found the car, and they think they got it worked out over the winter. But I'll know more after the 4th. When I get to feel it for myself.
Yeah, when you talked about it being the dynamite car, I assumed, oh, that means that it just wants to dump air as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what dynamiting a car means. It wants to blow up. And not in the sense that it goes kaboom, but in the sense that the air goes by. That classic air dumping sound.
Yeah, as soon as the
yeah.
hoses cut away.
Alright, so 98 is entering Mile Long Yard.
Train 701 is still in the hole.
Alright, we'll see you soon, 701. I believe your conductor's waiting for you at Mohawk.
All right.
Yeah, my coffee's starting to get cold.
We'll hand you a nice hot tea from the passenger train.
Yes.
Now that we're underway, beverage service can begin.
So we are coming into a yard limit, though there are no yard. I guess the yard limit sign is the tail track here. When coming into a yard, one thing that taking the note with passenger trains and the way that this railroad is set up is passenger train. It's we're timetable and train order, as we've discussed in numerous previous episodes. If you did your reading for this lesson, so we're timetable and train order, and we're running as a first-class train. Sorry, cat hair in my mouth. This is what it's like living with cats, folks. You find random cat hair. So we're running as a first-class train. So we have priority over everything else. Running through yard limits, usually you reduce to restricted speed, which those of you in chat, throw it Quizlet time. What is restricted speed? Throw it in the chat. But usually in a yard you're running at restricted speed. We're not running at restricted speed. Where you get to highball through the yard, as Shaq would say. It's called yard speed. So we get to run through the yard at whatever track speed is. Track speed here is 16.5 miles an hour, or whatever the speed limit max is. So that's what we get to do through every yard. Everyone has to stay out of our way. They have to be clear within 2 minutes of our arrival. So that's kind of the fun thing, is we get complete priority through the yards.
This is why passenger jobs, historically, are those that senior train crews get to handle, because they are sought after for that reason.
You get more miles in over the course of the day. I don't know if big railroads, I don't know if Amtrak pays by the mile, but you get passenger jobs usually get more miles in through the course of the day in less hours. And railroads historically were paid by the mile and the ton. Freight trains would be paid by the ton because you'd be doing less miles, but you'd be hauling more tons. And passenger trains would be paid by the mile because you're doing more miles but less tons. So we get to cover a lot of ground in a shorter amount of time. We'll probably get to Ahsoken within our 2-hour class time here. Maybe we did start a little bit late because various reasons, but still, you kind of fly through the railroad. And it's the senior engineers like that. They've been on the roster for 20 years. They want to get home. They don't want to stay out on the road all night. Check.
Looking at, I know some folks who work for Amtrak, so I'm gonna find out if that's still the case.
Oh, have you seen the Garbly signal tower?
Yes, I have.
The semaphores are supposed to be going up here shortly.
I can only imagine what they will be made of.
I'm scared of what they'll be made of.
But we can only imagine, and feel free to leave your comments in the chat, those of you joining along, as to what you think the semaphores are going to be made out of here in Railroads Online.
I think we've given enough time to our Quizlet of what is restricted speed. Restricted speed is stopping within 1/2 your range of vision. Yeah, usually not exceeding 10 miles an hour. So, everyone else needs to crawl through the yard. First class passenger train, we get to highball, as they say. And we are coming up to our first passenger stop here. I'm going to go ahead and shut off. And close my throttle all the way. Make sure my reverser's kicked all the way into the corner.
And I'm off the power as well.
Alright, stay on the power. Like half
Okay.
throttle. And I'll coach you into a stop.
Half throttle.
I'll head on down here to the caboose, not the caboose, to the observation car.
Yes.
And I'll make like a conductor. And
Classic
stand here.
vestibule view.
Right, it's a great view.
Train 701 to dispatch.
Yeah, go ahead,
We are
701.
We have cleared out of Mile Long Yard, southbound.
Clear Mile Long Yard, southbound 701. Now, Nick, that Hurley station should just be starting to squeak into view for you up there. You
It
see
is.
it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, kick your throttle all the way off, set the brake to like 8%.
Okay, off. And the brake is at a 6%.
That works.
This feels like we might need to apply more power shortly.
Alright, so go ahead and leave your brake set, but take your throttle back out to half.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to work against the power. Usually this is something you want to do with train brakes, not against an engine brake. But we'll talk, there's the theory behind what we're doing here. And with passenger trains, power braking is kind of your it's the way to do it. You keep your train stretched, you don't let your slack bunch up, and that way you can get a nice smooth start leaving and a nice smooth stop. And you can get it to where you don't even feel on the hind end that the train has stopped. And when you get those stops, it's the best thing in the world. Because you're working the engine, whop, 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 whop. And you're stopped. Nice and gentle, no one on the hind end knows. It's
I
just
hope it
it's
makes
a great
a sound
feeling.
effect. I like that wah, wah, wah.
Alright, kick your throttle off.
It is off.
Where's your brake?
Still at 6.
Alright, take it to like 60%. Nice meaty set.
Okay.
Kick it off.
It's off.
Alright. And see how that brought us down nice and easy. We're keeping it nice and smooth. Alright, take it back to like 6%. And take your throttle out of here. Like 20%.
Okay.
Enough so it feels like we're maintaining. I guess I have a better feel of that than you do, but still.
Yeah, you definitely have the better feel. I am totally going off of your directions here.
It feels like we're maintaining, and that's good.
Good.
You got 3 more cars to a stop. Two cars, kick your throttle off. Half a car and full application. And we're here. Beautiful stop. And that's how you bring a passenger train in. Alright, let's check inside the station, make sure there's no one here. Not a soul in sight.
Gotta open up the big station doors and see
Yes.
if anybody is sitting on the waiting rails as opposed to the waiting benches.
Alright, And same thing, throttle's nice and gentle. And we storm on out of here. And that's the kind of finesse that comes with the passenger train stuff. And looked back
Again,
along
I
our
imagine
train.
this is
Everything's all picked up nice and we've got everything picked up, so now we can take the throttle out to the nut and really start accelerating out of here.
and I imagine that in real life that this is another one of those you gotta feel it kind of moments where when you're running and you're coming up to a stop, you also know just the feeling in your seat of are you accelerating, are you maintaining, or are you slowing down? to
Yeah,
time it, right?
absolutely. I can't say I have a great feel for that in my seat yet. I still need to rely on my eyes heavily. I'm constantly looking out to my side to see what I'm doing. To see how, if I'm maintaining, if I'm gaining, if I'm slowing. But you can feel it in your butt. And it's one of those things that, you know, I know guys who have been doing this for 50 years, and when they get it wrong, or not when they get it wrong, when they don't get it perfect, they're still like, ah, damn it, missed it. Which is slightly reassuring when I do it, that like in 50 years I'll still be pissed at myself when I don't get it perfect. So there's that. You know, coming down the hill on my railroad, and we're dropping down towards the river, I'm looking out, I take my set, and like, if it's not doing what I want, I gotta tell myself, no, don't touch anything yet. And when you're going down a hill and not slowing down, and you're trying to tell yourself, no, don't touch it, that's the hardest thing in the world. Because I know that I need to let it ride. I need to let the brake shoes, they've just touched up against the wheels, and they haven't done anything yet. And I need to wait a minute, 2 minutes before it starts doing the thing. It's not going to do it instantly. And that's the hardest feeling, is to get past that.
Now, where you're running, do you have the sort of required precision of like being able to park it so that one car lines up with, say, an ADA ramp or something like that, or is there a certain window of
Smaller than that.
opportunity?
We're working within, like, you gotta be within 2 to 3 feet of perfect. Our Christmas trains have no wiggle room. So if you don't,
Wow.
it costs our longest train at Christmas fits inside the clear by 5 feet. So you have to be within 2 feet of your stop to be able to make
Wow.
to be able to have trains pass you at Christmas. So it's even tighter margins. And we have marks to rely on that. Mark at our runaround for me is a signpost. And I've got to put a signpost in the middle of the window between my back and the front of my body. And I'm turning sideways to look at myself in an imaginary mirror I don't have. What's that? Like, from the seat back to like just in front of my knees? That's probably what, like 3 feet, 2 feet? So they're tight margins. We are coming up to our next station stop here at Hill Valley Yard. It is a yard limit, so we can highball through here, but it's also a station stop. So I'm going to kick my throttle off, make sure my reverser's forward, and Nick, I'll let you bring her in for a stop. Won't coach you on this one. See how you do.
Sounds good. Maddox 83. Yippee! Anyone else having severe storms tonight?
I don't think
Here
so.
in Central Virginia.
You are
And
lined in on the new mainline alignment, south end of the yard.
appreciate that.
Oh, did you fix the main line?
I did, because there's one thing at the bottom of this yard that's been bugging me for months now, and I finally fixed it.
What?
I look.
Say what now?
What?
That's an interesting alignment.
You will see the reason why momentarily.
I am excited. This is the yard that keeps on growing and changing. We'll definitely have to do another. We'll have to do a yards 200 stream at some point. A 200 level on yard design. Cause Hill Valley just keeps improving or devolving. Never really sure on that.
Evolving into devolvement.
Oh, that's kinky.
What is?
Between the two switches for the arrival yard and the main.
Yeah, the track lane did something weird there that I have to take another look at.
What witchcraft am I seeing?
This is gonna be interesting to come to a smooth station stop because right now my train is jittering very, very badly. I kind of have the cheat sheet in the way of I've got this stream on my other screen, so I'll be able to see
That's
what
smart.
it looks like from a normal standpoint.
Hashtag
But-
soon TM.
Yeah, because like it's so bad, I'm having difficulty like controlling things. And also my UI seems to have disappeared, so I can't see like numbers associated with my movements of things.
Oh,
Like I'm only like I'm hovering over the throttle and I don't see any numbers associated with hovering over the throttle.
in F mode? Or are you not an F
No.
mode guy?
No, I'm in just regular walk around mode. I think I'm gonna go to F mode though, because I really kind of want to see that stuff.
Presume 601 is lined out, or is ready to leave now? 'Cause you guys are out of the
601
way.
free to depart.
Excellent.
That's cool. I'm surprised you took those with the double-headed Eurekas.
Was assigned, and you weren't around to complain to at the moment, so good moving your part.
No, I mean, like, I'm surprised you took Eurekas.
But
And
it was
didn't
assigned
choose
on
something
the-
else.
Yeah, whatever. I haven't been on the south end of the railroad in a long time, so I want to go down there.
Mad
Life is more
AC
fun with-
yards. Yards can. We did a little yards workshop, and you really can't get into it without getting into too much technical stuff. So probably building a yard with the new spline system, maybe a whole stream, and how we came up with the design as a 200 level course. That seems to be a hot topic. One is how to design a well thought out yard.
I will
And-
note this is not it.
Yes, Hill Valley is still not it.
We keep modifying it because we haven't gotten it right yet.
Yeah, we've been trying to get this right since October, and it's not there yet. One day.
Say
Okay.
Plateau, though. Plateau came out okay because I think we learned from Hill Valley.
We did learn a lot from Hill Valley. And anywhere in there. 98.
Is there anybody else down here on the south end of the railroad, or is it my railroad?
Now you got 701 down there,
Where is 701?
heading towards the refinery.
Okay.
Train 701 dispatch.
Go ahead, 701.
After 42 years, we are finally arriving in Mohonk.
Alright, 702. 701 arriving Mohonk. Alright, handbrake set and pin is pulled.
How'd I do? What's my score for that one?
I didn't realize we stopped, so I'll give you a 9. Alright, Pinsbolt,
Take
okay to
it.
come ahead.
The reason for the reconfigure at the south end of Hill Valley
Mm-hmm.
is that it gives you a switching lead for the departure yard to put your train together or put engines on it or whatever without fouling the main.
It lets me Y engines as they come in
That as well.
and get them over without fouling the main.
Correct. And it also gives you a switching lead for the for 99 to do its work on that end of the yard without fouling up the departure yard in the process.
Yes. Always growing and evolving. The railroads are never stagnant, and that's kind of the takeaway. If something's not working for you on your railroad, stop and fix it. Change it. Nothing says it needs to stay the way it is.
Railroads do evolve. That's real life.
That's how you end up with a yard with 4 tracks that are numbered 4, 10, and 18.
I
Three
I
cars
see
just
we
out.
have. Gotcha. I see that we have some oil cars sitting around here.
We do.
Is that the fruits of our labor a couple weeks ago?
That is the fruits of our labor from a couple weeks ago. One more car.
Neato.
Half a car. Truck. And keep coming. Another half a truck. And far enough. Alright, switch is thrown. Okay to shove back. 4 to a hook.
Coming back. But this is why I love the mixed train. It's such a nice mixture of the start and stop of passenger, but being able to shuffle around cars with freight.
I'm always a fan of the mix. If I had a choice of what train to run, anytime, always, it's the mixed. 'Cause you get the passenger element, you get the freight element, and you kind of get to do it all. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of places that still do that. Getting to do photo freights with mixed trains, a lot of fun. 1.5 cars to go. One more car. Half a car. Truck. 3 feet. Foot. I need another foot for the pin. And pins in. Knocking off the handbrakes. Okay to start pulling.
What's have any of you who are in class today been on a mixed train, or if not, just what's the most recent passenger trip that you've done? Um, did you notice anything in particular about train handling or communications with the train crew? It's always fun to kind of go to a place and observe how the train crews operate and communicate. Whether it be something mainline like Amtrak or a commuter railroad or tourist railroad. Always a different flavor.
Uh, 3 cars to a stop. One more car. Half a car. Truck. And far enough. Ah. Alright. Go ahead and give me a shove back. We're going to kick these cars towards the passenger cars, but not into them.
In the general direction.
Yes.
I can imagine why we are not kicking them into the
Nope,
passenger
no.
cars.
You know, you got to keep your making all your couplings at 4 miles an hour or less. Don't want to jostle the T. And probably wouldn't be kicking these if we were not in a simulator. We'd be shoving back and having a safety stop. No more than 20 feet away, but no closer than 10 feet away. And then coming in for our hook. But that's a good shove there, Nick. We're going to kick them at it. And I'm going to stop them before they get there, and then we'll come up nice and slow. And pin on. Alright. Okay to shove those in till you're clear of the siding. I'll meet you there. I'm going to be riding these in a bit. Get them clear of foul marks. And foul is just where anything off the side of the engine or train will hit another thing. You don't want to be in that zone. So right here, I am in the foul, because I can get hit by stuff on both tracks. If I wanted to be outside of the foul, I'd have to be over here.
Makes sense. Am I kicking these cars into the siding?
Yeah, we can kick them. Let me run up and
Alrighty.
get the pin. Pin's pulled. Okay to stop, and you can start bringing yourself set up to pin back onto the loaded stuff.
Alrighty.
The loaded things. And we confirm that these are the same with our waybill. Yeah, those are the correct cars.
Always a good thing to double check.
Because God forbid the yard crew screws up. And knowing our yard crew here,
Blessed though they may be.
they were probably drunk when they did it.
Indeed.
Running. Alright, you line it back into your train there, Nick.
Alrighty.
Jeff says, did the train from Toronto to Vancouver 8 years ago.
Ah, the
That's
Canadian.
that's on my bucket list.
That is such a good trip. Oh, that's the one I always tell folks when I'm interacting with the general public. I always tell people that's the one you got to put on the bucket list. Bar none. I've done the Alaska Railroad, it's cool. I've done Amtrak, it's cool. But nothing beats the Canadian. And I am not in any way biased by that, even though I was raised on a steady diet of CP and CN by my dad, and am a dual citizen. But I'm not biased. Because it is
Little
awesome.
biased. I got 2 cars to a bump. And it sounds like someone's fire is going out.
Not anymore. That's been rectified. We're just waiting on the
Okay.
readjustment of things, shall we say. I'm just looking
Alright,
to
bumped in.
okay.
And you got 4 cars to a hook with the passenger train. Only issue with Via Rail is that it's not unheard of to be 2 days late into Vancouver.
This is true.
Yeah.
We were fortunate in our trip. We maintained reasonable schedule. So yes, yes, a lot of sitting in sidings waiting for freight trains to pass. That is definitely true. And Rocky Mountain Railroad. Do you mean the Rocky Mountaineer, Jeff? Because I'm familiar with the Rocky Mountaineer. I'm not sure what Rocky Mountain Railroad is.
3 cars, 98.
Unless we're talking about my favorite film of all time, which is Rocky Mountain Express, which is also Canadian. There's a theme here. This lesson on passenger trains brought to you by the great country of Canada.
Matt AC has been at Boone Scenic for Tommy's visit, the Blue Dumpster, and Kin's in there 98.
Oh,
Which is how my start to train season's going. I get to fire for the Blue Dumpster. Once you can get that to a stop, 98, we are clear to depart. I should. Are both fires out? This one's less.
mine isn't.
And pick the train up nice and easy.
Picking up gently. Rocky Mountaineer. I'd love to do that. It is massively expensive though, so that's probably a bucket list thing. I'd love to do Boone and Scenic, especially when they get the JS back up and running.
Yeah.
Our resident Chinese steam expert, Mr. Squiggy, probably would have a lot more to say on the matter.
Yep, patiently waiting.
I knew I could count on you to
The
chime in
Chinese
on
theme has a soft spot in my heart. It's worn a little soft spot in my heart. They're just
Have you-
so ergonomic.
Have you seen the QJs in operation yet?
I have not seen the QJs in operation.
Uh,
I've yet to get out there.
mm.
Have been on many an email chain with Mr. Posner though, with fun Chinese Steam videos getting shared.
Very nice.
So there is that.
Jeff
Man,
does not recommend the Rocky Mountaineer. Not worth the cost, at least compared to the other. The only thing I will say about Rocky Mountaineer is it's your one chance to ride on the former Canadian Pacific Transcontinental line, because the Canadian takes the CN line, which is still good. But Rocky Mountaineer, you get to ride through the spiral tunnels of Yoho, and you get to do Banff and Lake Louise. So that is a point in its favor. Morant's Curve, McDonald Tunnel. So there are reasons.
By the way,
Mhm.
Train 701 to dispatch. We have departed Mohonk southbound.
Copy that. 701 is departed Mohonk. Matt AC, don't get me wrong. I talk smack about the Thomas events because they're insane, but they are a lot of fun. At the end of the day, both for the kids and getting to work those events, they're very enjoyable to work. I end up being the queen of the photobomb at Thomas events, which is always a lot of fun. It gets a lot of laughs. And who doesn't love a dirty person in overalls popping in the back of your photo? They're a lot of work, but I enjoy working them, and I enjoy getting to interact with people at them. So, if you have kids, can recommend the Thomas events. Just be prepared for the craziest of craziness you've ever seen.
FYI, it's a commercial break now, so I don't know if people hear us or not.
I don't know. I have to figure out how to turn that off because that's not supposed to play when we're live. If you heard any
Okay.
of that, let us know. And I apologize about the commercial breaks. That's only supposed to happen on the replays.
Stan Line gets Jasper. The Jasper is cool. Yes, Jasper is cool. I will give it that. Yeah, so Thomas was just at Greenfield Village, and I
Ah,
belong to
yes.
a Friends of Greenfield Village group. And actually, Greenfield Village is the one place that gets the real Thomas outside of Strasbourg, as in it
I,
gets the
yeah,
Steam one as opposed to just a dummy that's pushed.
BEDT number 15, as we would call it, around children.
Yes. Um,
One of the railroads I worked for, we used to be the third railroad to get BEDT number 15. And god damn it if that engine isn't an absolute riot to run and fire. I've never had more fun on a steam engine than in my entire life. Bar none.
that much fun, eh?
That much. It's. The thing's tiny. Um, and you put like a 5 car train behind it, loaded to the gills with people, and you run at 20 miles an hour, and it's just a riot. You're bouncing and shaking all over. You got a
Yes.
scoop that's the size of a spatula. The fire door is completely manual, so you're opening up the door with one hand, throwing in a scoop of coal with the other hand, and then kicking the door closed with your foot, all while you're shaking back and forth like 3 feet in either direction. Um, oh man, I love that engine. And Strasbourg has it set up so nicely. The um, the Johnson bar is you can grab it with one hand and pull it back while you're under power. It's just set up so smooth.
Oh, so it doesn't lock.
No, it does lock, but it won't throw you around the cab. It's so well balanced.
Ah, nice.
It's a great engine. I miss it.
But the reason I mentioned it being at Greenfield Village is because this is a Facebook group that not all of them are rail fans.
Hmm.
So you get to kind of get a window of insight into the general public's mindset with a Day Out with Thomas event. And people love it. People are still, even where Thomas has definitely waned in popularity in the general culture, people still love it.
I
So
have run ahead
yay
over
for yay
to
for BDT 15.
I've run over to Meh, trying to grab that cover photo for this as you're pulling in.
Better you
And
than me. Today's a shaky day. I haven't been lucking out with my photos.
and Matt AC did have a question about train handling in the rain. I saw it. We're gonna get to it, but we got to get through this pickup first. It's a lot of switching going on at this current point.
I recommend a buddy of mine hit a rail museum his kids found out about. Blue Dumpster and Poor Soul. Poor Soul nothing. Thomas is awesome. Ride or die, Blue.
I don't know. I was still pleased when Thomas tried to commit suicide its last year at the railroad I was at.
Oh no.
Yeah, he split a switch and went bump, 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 bump down in the middle of the gauge.
Ooh, that's no fun.
No, especially when the HR person for Mattel was standing right next to the track and saw the whole thing. I'm like, oh boy.
We squeezed the Mattel lady, the Mattel HR person, or babysitter, I don't know, whoever it is, into live Steam Thomas with us. 3 cars to a stop, Nick. 2. 1. Half. Anywhere in there. And we've passed our station.
This is a deceptive one. You have this on a grade.
It is on a grade.
Oh, for shame.
Here, I'll start tying on handbrakes. It's not a light grade either. It's like a 2% down.
No, I was not. See, I haven't been in charge of running this sucker for some time, so I was that totally snuck up on me. This is why you know your territory, ladies and gentlemen. I've
Call me.
successfully demonstrated how easy it is to overshoot a platform.
Alright, let me knock off the 4 handbrakes I had to turn on. And this is why train air is also really nice. Alright, you need to shove back 5.
I've applied power, so I'm just waiting for the handbrakes to come off.
Handbrakes are off. I'll assist with power.
You were saying something about the Mattel babysitter and live steam.
Yes, we put her in the live Steam Thomas because she had never seen it before. And there's barely enough room in there for 2 people. We squeezed her into the cab. And it was a July day. Like one of those humid northeast July days where it downpours in the middle of the day. We put her into the cab. It's the only trip of the day where it rains and there's no roof. So we're there slinging coal. And she's in shorts in a steam engine with no jacketing on the back head, because Strasbourg doesn't believe in jacketing on the back head. Getting bounced and thrown around and just getting like the slack coal, wet slack coal just slung all over her legs. She got off the engine and was like, never again am I working an event with the live Steam Thomas. We had fun. We thought it was hilarious.
I am at full power, FYI. I'm gonna hop into the other unit and put some power to it.
Yeah, you got 2 more cars to go. She was a very, or maybe Jeff is saying poor soul to his friend who ended up at the Rail Museum on the Thomas Day.
Yeah,
Either way,
he was
both of them are poor souls, and you could start bringing it to a stop there, Nick.
okay.
I don't want to get too close to the crossing, but we've got all 3 cars on the crossing. So I'll come up here, set a couple handbrakes.
This is my first time lifting a car from meh.
Mine too. Alright, and handbrakes are applied. Your cutaway. Okay, I had to clear the switch. Up. Yeah, I got that break off.
Yeah, okay, good.
And if this car needs to go to Hill Valley, does anyone know why we're picking it up in the northbound direction?
Type your answers, and while you're typing your answers, I'm going to ask, what jacketing and backhead mean to your
one
story?
more car. Half an engine, tender, far enough.
Wow, it gets
So-
away from you quick on this grade.
It's a 2% grade. It's no joke. That's call me crazy, but I actually memorized the physical characteristics of my railroad in game. Though I did also lay everything, so that I think that helps. Well, almost everything. Rudy Lowry helped a lot. And Squiggy and Hostler helped lay a bunch. Okay, so maybe I didn't lay everything. I laid a lot. So this back here is the back head. And you see these stable caps. That there on the outside, that glossy thing, is the jacketing. And it's what goes over the insulation.
Oh, so most have jacketing around the backhead, but this one, okay. Now I get it.
Strasbourg's engines, period, don't.
Do you know what the mentality behind that is?
I don't know, it's a Lynn thing. Ask Lynn.
It's a Lynn thing. I like that.
Well, what if we get Lynn on as a guest to talk about the East Broad Top Railroad at some point in the future? We can ask him why Strasbourg Railroad doesn't believe in jacketing on their backheads. And I'm sure we'll get a very good answer. I just don't know what that answer is. Are you at full power there?
No, I took power off. I'm applying power once again.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel like I could ask Lynn any question, I would get a good answer.
You got 2 cars to a stop.
I could ask him what he had for breakfast today, and I'd get a good answer.
1 more car. Half a car. Keep shoving back. You're still on the 2% uphill here.
Yep, yep. I got power.
You've got a truck. 3 feet. 2 feet. 1 feet. Pins in. Alright, our crew here at the station remembered to close the doors. That's a good thing. Handbrake's knocked off. Okay, ahead. Clear switch.
I was gonna say whatever Lynn Modinger is eating for breakfast, we should probably all be taking a lesson from that.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate Wheaties, whatever he's eating.
Put hair on your chest, that's for sure.
Sit in your
It's a healthy
hair.
diet of 3-foot narrow gauge
Yeah.
and steam oil.
There you go. He just eats a 3-foot gauge rod every morning for breakfast. Just to remind himself of the superiority.
A 3-foot tie for
There you go.
lunch. It's the fiber.
Yeah, I've got my brake on full, and I'm still accelerating.
I'll get my brake on.
I just put the tender brake on too. Like, this is a bugger.
I'd like to make it challenging.
You succeeded.
It's no fun if the whole railroad's flat. Alright, we're
This is
clear of the
good.
switch.
Matic 83, my family and I might be heading out to Colorado this summer. We'll have fun if you do. And Jeff says, after Heiss's recent videos, I really want to see CRRM again, and I want to recreate it in-game for my freight depot yard.
I still have yet to make it to the Colorado Railroad Museum. It's on my list. For sure.
It's a cool place.
Yeah. Watching Heiss's videos, the grade change there is just insane.
Oh,
I
it
can't
is,
imagine trying to
totally.
fire that of just like, and half your glass of water is gone. Like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's what most people would look at and go, okay, we'll put a nice CP Huntington gas-powered train running around this. And they just decided they'd put the real thing.
You got half a car.
Train 701 to dispatch.
Truck. Pins in. Let me kick off the handbrakes and we can get out of here. And we may start rolling before you even kick the handbrakes off. So who knows? Alright, handbrakes are kicked off. We're clear to depart. Go ahead, 701.
Alright, we've arrived at refinery.
Copy that. 701's arrived at refinery.
I was worried we were going to stall for a minute there.
You know, I haven't yet seen anybody say, I want the CP Huntington amusement park trains on the tech tree. But I'm going to be the first to say I want to
Oh,
see the
no.
CP Huntington park train on the tech tree.
I'm sure it'll come with workshop support. Someone will put one in.
It is 3 foot. Let the record show.
Is it American-built 3-foot narrow gauge that's historically accurate?
Well, if you count the fact that it's modeled after a real locomotive, admittedly not a narrow gauge one, but it's historically accurate for a steam engine that has EMD Blomberg trucks.
I'm surprised nobody's asked to have the Disney trains added.
Well, there you go, too.
I
Those
mean,
are all
those aren't
3-footers.
3-foot narrow gauge, Baldwin built.
Yep.
You see how quick
Those
we
are-
accelerate coming out of there on the downhill?
Yeah, it's just like rocket shoes.
Mm-hmm. And it's, that's nice for train handling, cause we've already taken power as we're leaving. It's pushed us a little bit. Now that we're coming off the level, you still have stuff pushing on the rear, but you're starting to pull from the front, so you're pulling each car individually out and stretching it. And you can get really nice, smooth train handling that way if you've done it. And that's a feel it by the seat of your pants type of thing. But you can feel if you've picked up the whole train or not, and what's still pushing you, what's still pulling you, as you're running. So, contrary to what other people who run Steam may tell you, or what other people may tell you in game, bunch yourself up coming down the hills, and then take power as you're starting to come off the hill, so you start stretching slowly.
Keep going, Squiggy. You got about 5 cars to get into the clear.
Okay.
Oh, and in answer to the earlier question of Amtrak paying by mile or hour, it is by hour.
Well, that makes sense because they're late, so then they get more money.
4 cars to go, Squeaky.
4 cars.
You're leaving the Charlie the Choo Choo, Mad AC. I'm saying we should have the monorail.
Is Charlie the Choo Choo
2 cars to go.
still
2.
insane, or-
I don't know.
2 cars.
I don't know what Charlie the Choo Choo is.
1 car.
1 car.
Half a car.
Half car.
Okay to stop anywhere there.
It'll take me a minute.
Alright, I'll start setting handbrakes.
Well, there's no one else out on the railroad ahead of us, Nick. So we've got the whole north end. We've got the whole northern division to ourselves. And the math says we're gonna make the hill this time.
Sweet relief.
The math also said we were gonna make it last time. So you know.
The words this time are a hell of a caveat there.
Been
Okay,
there,
proceed.
done that.
Okay to proceed ahead, 40. We'll get these tank cars on the siding and start unloading the lumber.
Sounds good.
You were going to talk about train handling and the rain handling.
I was gonna talk about train handling and the rain handling. So back to the earlier question from Mad AC. Rain does kind of affect your train handling. You tend to slide a little bit more. So you do need to take your sets a little bit sooner than you think you do. But not too much. Steel on
4
steel
cars
is-
to go. 4.
Steel on steel is pretty much already a frictionless surface, so you can once you already have almost no friction, it's kind of hard to add less friction to that or take away friction from that. So it doesn't affect it too much. Cold actually affects it more than rain, cause frozen rail, so then you're sliding on ice. Leaves also affect it more than rain. But a wet, dewy morning, you're more likely to slip. But like a rainy day, not too terribly different than a sunny day. But cold, dewy, it's those not rainy days, but wet and cold that'll really screw you.
And how does sound factor into the equation?
I can't tell. We have an engineer who used an entire dome of sand in one day because he forgot he left it on.
Oh,
And I'm just
Ouch.
remembering that. We photoshopped in a
Okay to stop, 40.
you know the coin like the coin inserts for like a for like a washing machine at a laundromat. Someone photoshopped one of those in on top of the sander on one of our steam engines as a joke about it.
Uh,
But sand you use sparingly, and you can't use sand to stop a slip. So think about it. You slip, all of a sudden those heavy masses are now spinning much faster than they currently were. Right? They went from doing 15 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour. I've seen speedometers jump like that when they're hooked up to the drive wheels. So that mass is now spinning insanely fast. If you grab the sander, what you do is you suddenly give it traction. Now, what's Newton's first law? An object in motion wants to stay in motion. If you grab sand to stop a slip, you will snap a crank pin. And a crank pin is that thing that holds the rod to the wheel. So you'll snap a crank pin off. Easy. If you just grab sand. How to control a slip in that scenario is you shut your throttle off. You can grab a little bit of independent brake and let that start pressing up against the wheel slowly, but that's you can still damage stuff doing that. So you just shut the throttle, let it calm itself down. Once it's calmed itself down, kick the sand on, then open up your throttle. If you also think you're about to slip and you can feel when the engine wants to slip, you can rock your sander on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. So that way you're putting down just a little drop of sand and you're preventing it from getting those like quarter slips that Heist has actually talked about a lot in the Derail Valley videos. There's some good examples of quarter slips in those, but you're trying to prevent those quarter slips from happening and catch that by using sand sparingly as you go.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Train 701 to dispatch.
Go ahead, 701.
We have some questions regarding the unloading of our cars.
Uh-huh.
It looks like we can fit only 9 more units of lumber.
Okay. So unload what you can, leave the rest in a siding up there.
Understood.
And that'll be, next year we'll deal with it. So now we've entered a yard limit. We're a first class train, and what does that mean, folks watching at home? What do we get to do that everyone else can't?
Rail and stream?
No, we already did that.
Oh, we
And
did that.
We were inside of a yard, and we weren't in a yard. So,
Hee hee.
Is Mohawk not considered a yard?
No.
No? Yes? I've never thought about it.
I've never been told it has.
I mean, I think you just made the decision yourself to protect your own ass.
You know, I gotta keep my reputation up. I haven't derailed in a yard. There you go. Alright, so I got my throttle off. I'm heading back to be Mrs. Conductor. And we'll get this
Check on
train
the tea
brought
service.
into Plateau Station.
Train 601 to dispatcher.
Yeah, go ahead, 601.
We are ready to depart Mile Long Yard and go to the Ironworks.
Copy that. You are clear to depart Mile Long Yard and head for
Thanks.
Ironworks. Railroad
Thank
is yours to there.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
That's a nice cover photo there of the not so cursed passenger train. That may be the title card.
The cute passenger train.
The cute passenger train. It is very cute. The Vista Dome cars out here.
It makes me think of one of those 1950s newsreels for the California Zephyr where they talk about how you can be a Vista Dome adventurer.
It's pretty much like that. You know, we're going across the top of the waterfall too. That would like absolutely be like a Canadian Vista Dome, not business card, postcard. So now, Nick, you are slightly uphill into this station. And your physical characteristics absolutely determine how you're going to bring a train in. If you know you're stopping on a hill and it's an uphill coming in, you're probably going to use a little bit less brake. And you're going to let your physical characteristics do the work for you. I've harped on that a lot. That's even more important on passenger trains. You got 6 cars to a stop.
Yep.
And
Yeah, Squiggy, you're clear ahead.
Nick and I haven't done this in a while. He may not know where the marks are. I don't know where the marks are, so I'm giving him car counts to bring them in. 3 more cars. Two cars. 1 car. Truck. Anywhere in here, 98.
Hostler, do you think we want to leave these 2 cars spotted for unloading here, and just set out the rest of the lumbers on the siding?
Well, we got to get rid of this one empty. We'll take it back with us, right?
Look at that. Thing of beauty.
I guess 701
All
to
3 cars are on.
dispatch.
There you go. Yeah, go ahead, 701. We're rolling back here, Nick.
Got it.
Will
Yes.
we want to bring any empties with us?
Yeah,
Back.
bring any empties you have back.
Bring all empties, okay.
Yeah, just leave the loads up there. Alright, and there's no one in there. Let me get a nice rip-roaring fire going in here.
Yep, I was just doing that.
Because the last thing we want to do is what, everyone? Pull a Casey. That's right.
We are on commercial break again. Maybe. I'm
I
on
don't know.
commercial break.
My side is frozen. And nice and gentle. Coming out. Just get the train moving.
Okay, 40. We'll kick this empty onto the empty tanks and then stop just short of the switch, and then we'll kick the loaded over back towards the loading platform or unloading platform.
Sounds good.
And once we've gotten everything moving, get that throttle all the way out. We've got the whole train picked up. And
Now-
we're heading out onto the roller coaster grade.
Just one stop remains.
So
And we've saved the best
Yeah.
for last, ladies and gentlemen. I am so thrilled with what we get to share with you
I'm
at our final destination.
I'm
This-
excited for Ahsoken.
I have not seen it in some time. I am very chuffed to be heading back there.
I'm very excited for our roundtable stream, where we get to get on different people from the industry for kind of story night. If that's a good word for it, and it's not. picture Roundtable as it's the railroader thing. You've just been on duty for 12 hours. You've gotten off and you're going to the bar to have a drink with your fireman, your engineer, your conductor, and you're telling stories about what happened that day or something else that happened a couple weeks prior or what have you, and you're enjoying a nice beverage. And that's kind of what Roundtable Night's going to be. It's going to be Nick and I with railroaders who aren't us, coming on and doing story time with the passenger train, and we'll run the passenger train up to Ahsoken, and I'm excited for our guests for that stream to see Ahsoken, and for, quite frankly, the stories they have to tell. We're getting a good batch of questions together for that, and I know I have some good stories. I'm sure they have some excellent stories to share as well.
I like the idea that we'd invite all of these great and prestigious people, and we'd spend their entire time just going, just look at what we've done. Isn't this awesome? Well, that's great, but don't you want to hear us? Yeah, but one minute. But isn't this great? We'll just be spending the entire time raving about how great our work in this digital world is.
Yes, or having people be like, "Oh my God, that's horrifying. Why did you ever
And the-
build it?"
And the only takeaway that they'll have of it is just that they need to hire Mr. Rudy Lowry to redesign their stations.
And speaking of which, when you guys go into Ashoka, I don't know if anyone's been down there since the
Oh no!
I have.
What are-
track was reconfigured, but
It's so
it's
much
very
better.
just keep that in mind if you haven't been there since the track was redone.
Yeah,
There is a slight change to the track layout.
I've been there. I love it. It's much better.
Excellent.
Mad AC, sorry about the commercials. Those were supposed to be turned off for the stream, and I don't know why they're showing up. So I do have to do some digging into that. I can't get to that feature and turn it off midstream. Cause I'm quite frankly not sure how. I'm a little bit new to that. So it's on my to-do list. Much apologies.
But we do appreciate you staying through the commercial break to ride with us here on the Mohonk Flyer, here on Railroaders Play Railroads Online on the Virtual Railroaders Academy. I always make it a plural, Virtual Railroader Academy. I'd encourage you to follow us on Twitch. All you gotta do is hit that purple heart button, and then you get notified every time we're going live, which is Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And also, we encourage you to check out our link tree, which is just linktr.ee/Virtual Railroader Academy, and you can see all of our wonderful social media platforms from there.
And if you type !tree into chat, it'll bring you straight to our link tree. It's also in our bio down below. If you hit that about button, you can head right on into that link tree. So you can find our Facebook there, where you'll see weekly posts about streams you may have missed getting up archived up on our YouTubes, where we're talking about the Spline beta, teasing stuff that we're building. So there's a whole bunch of good stuff on our other platforms as well, not just here on Twitch. The whole commercials thing is weird with affiliates, Jeff. It's a whole topic of conversation. But just know that as annoying they are for you, they are also annoying to deal with on the back end.
So
And-
we've got this one passenger train.
Yes.
Okay to
that
stop,
we
Horty.
run. When does it get a counterpart?
So, its counterpart will probably show up on the on the V2 of the AM&W, so that they pass. Though one could argue that its counterpart is 99, which can depart after arriving at Ahsoken and turning. It just comes down to timing. It tends to be a long run. It's about 2 hours corner to corner of the map, and we are running corner to corner. We start down at the Arn refinery, and we're heading to just east of the Ian coal mine. So we are heading pretty much 360ing the map. So it does eat up a lot of time.
Okay to stop 40.
It eats up about 2 hours. If we were playing for longer than 2 hours, yeah, you could probably run its counterpart immediately after. But to save on frame rate and jumpiness for you guys, there is no counterpart right now.
Yet another reason to look forward to version 2.
Yes. And our telephone booth project has gone very well here on the AM&W. That's where you go to get your orders when you're stopping the hole.
Which we
It
are
may
not.
look like a
we
sand
are
tower.
flying through.
Yeah. And we made it through the roller coaster grade section. And it's the same thing I've been harping on with roller coaster grades is you're working the throttle in a little bit, out a little bit, in a little bit, out a little bit to just maintain your speed and letting your physical characteristics help control your train and just moderating throttle lightly to take care of that. And now we're hitting the stiff grade here up towards the Soken. It's 3% all the way uphill, pretty much after we cross the switch. So we're going to be hammering it up the hill. It's why we have 2 Eureka's, is solely for this hill. It's actually for everything northbound from Hill Valley. Is you need the 2 engines. You know, knock wood. Once we start getting new power in the game, we could switch these out for something a little bit bigger, but not too big. 'Cause
These are cute though. I like them. It won't feel the same if we did anything else.
You know, in my heart of hearts, I think I've made up my mind that it's going to be a Glenbrook and a Eureka as the mode of power for the passenger trains next.
Oh, I can dig that. I can dig it.
Or once they start coming out with the 460s, the 10-wheelers that live inside my hearts, those will be passenger power. And when I'm picking passenger power, I'm looking for a combination of tractive effort and speed. I know that the Eurekas have big driving wheels, but low tractive effort. But 2 of them combined make a whole engine, so I'm kind of okay with that. And
Not for
you know,
braking power.
Nick and I had 2 beautiful stops with coaching. All it takes is someone who there's more finesse to it. You can't just slam on the brakes, which you shouldn't be doing anyway with your train handling. That's how you throw stuff around, and once the engines and cars get health bars in the game, because I think they've talked about adding some kind of a health bar system for throwing the stuff around, it'll then cost you money, cost you slammed on the brakes and freight shifted and damaged the car or what have you. So think about that finesse early, so that way you're already ahead of the curve once it's a part of the game. But the Eurekas are speedy. You know, once speed caps are removed, the new models are implemented, and, you know, we'll be able to fly at 45 miles an hour with this. We'll be able to be a true first-class train. And then, you know, with that, you know, you can have your passenger train speed limit and your freight speed limit. And those are usually about 10 to 15 miles apart from each other. Miles per hour apart from each other. So, you know, we're doing 45 with the Eurekas and the Mohawk Flyer, and you're doing 30, 35 with your freight trains. So, then you'll start having the passenger train catch freight trains that it's following. And the freight train will have to get out of the way, and it'll, you know, the interesting factor just suddenly jumps up when you have to contend with this new thing of like, oh, my passenger train's gonna catch my freight train. Or, oh, my passenger train's gonna get to that siding before the freight train gets there, because it can go faster. And, so that means that freight train needs to run a little bit hotter to get into the hole before the passenger train gets there to not stab the passenger train. And it, like, your operational thought process kind of increases with it. And it's what makes the multiplayer element cool with this game, and why we do this.
It's great to watch it evolve.
It is, and to kind of do the thought experiment of well, if I'm going to be able to run this fast with this, how is that going to affect everything else? We are slogging up this hill.
Yes, we are not flying. We are puddle jumping. But we will get
I
there.
see you're also running ahead to foam.
Well, when one is crawling at this rate of speed, one might as well.
Now just picture this realistic firing element. You're dogging it up the hill. You're constantly slinging coal. Throttles wide out. This is heaven on earth to the railroader, the steam guy in me. I wanna be here. I wanna be firing this moment. Not even running this moment. Running's boring. I wanna be firing this moment because it's cool. It's a challenge. You're right on that knife edge of keeping everything where it needs to be and sitting in that balancing act of not too much fire, not too much water. And you got a hot passenger train behind you. Though I wouldn't call this a hot passenger train right now at our current
Lukewarm.
speed.
We're a lukewarm passenger train. But the tea is hot.
The tea is
The
hot.
speed is lukewarm, but the tea is hot.
It is, and that kind of leads into like the mixed train. The mixed train is not fast at all. It's very pokey. Sure, can you run? Sure, are you a first class train? Yeah. But you're doing all your stops and switching, so like time starts. You start losing time along the way, where you're going. Your average speed drops because of how long you're doing other things where you're not really moving. But this is cool right here. I am a fan of this.
I love this river run in general.
Me too. It feels very Durango-y.
Yeah, that's true.
Just I'm letting it all soak in right now. 'Cause I think this is just a fun moment and letting the engines kind of speak for themselves.
Letting it soak in.
Let it soak in. I one-upped you there. We are coming off the hill here. Just after we're going to come around this left-hand curved into a tangent into a right-hand across the bridge. And once we come through that, we will be off the hill and we'll begin picking up speed again, flying into a Soken. And that's a
Supersonic flying.
supersonic. Well, maybe subsonic, just by a little bit. But that's, it's the name of the game.
The other name of the game is Railroads Online, and you're watching Railroaders play Railroads Online.
Oh man, that was bad, but I love it.
Bad but good is what we strive for here. Matt AC, are you talking about when you say whomever made the route is beautiful? Well, I'm sure that our engineers are glad to know that they're beautiful, as well as the
Aw.
route. Well, he said whoever made the route. Not that the route itself is beautiful. He said that whoever made it is beautiful.
Rudy, we're
And-
beautiful.
You're beautiful people.
Aw,
And this is the feel-good section of tonight's lesson.
The map here is very scenic, and I like trying to find those scenic elements. Still, after playing this for, God, 6 months now, has this game been out? Still trying to find those
October
beauty shots. Yeah, about 6
1st?
months.
8.
Yeah, April was 6 months, so 7 months.
Oh, true.
So it's nice trying to find the beautiful spots and how to lay your line in a pretty way that it makes sense and is railroady.
Train 702 to dispatch.
Go ahead, 702.
I believe we are all assembled out here. The markers are on our caboose, and we are ready to depart at your discretion.
Alright, 702, you can depart the oil refinery.
Just a note, 601 is in the clear at the ironworks at the moment, but I think you're going to have to reline your switch at Rattling Valley.
Understood. Thank you.
So
Otherwise,
keep an
you
eye
should
out
be
for
lined
that.
up, and you should be lined all the way through Mile Long Yard, though.
All right. Thank you, 601. We will keep an eye out for any misaligned switches.
Alright, I've ran out ahead of us, Nick.
I was gonna take care
So-
of that if you didn't. So
But it's apparently a lot further away than I thought. This right
The
here, I think,
barrels-
is my favorite section of the route, where it's right up along the river's edge and the groundwork isn't super tall.
yeah, agreed.
I think this is like one of the most scenic corners in the map. In terms of, and you know, you want to have a pretty line for your passengers. As I lean over here and fill out some paperwork.
As I lean out of the cab, virtually,
The
I'll lean over my
cab view
office chair to simulate the leaning out part.
You mean
Actually,
you're
this
not
kind of
constantly-
works. I'm so right now I'm sitting in my office chair and I'm leaning over the armband, and it's actually kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
I'm constantly leaning like that, but that's because I have terrible posture.
See, I have to make an effort.
So now if you really want to get that whole running tender first element, what you guys want to do is go ahead and put your butt up on the armrest. Lock your knee into the other armrest and lean backwards like you're looking behind you. And that's how you get the true running tender first feeling.
And all of that is very important if you're hell-bent on developing scoliosis at a young age.
Or, you know, falling out of your chair and bashing your head on your office floor.
Then you wonder why the cats have blood in their paws.
Hey, it's because
There's your callback of the eating, folks.
my cat Mittens is okay. She's a polydactyl, and she has a floppy claw in between her thumb and the rest of her paw knuckle things. And that
Paw
was
knuckle
growing... I don't know what they're called. That was growing into the pad of one of her paws. So it started to get a little bloody because we didn't realize, and it got torn up a little bit, so we had to nip it back. But she's okay. She's a little baby, but she's okay.
The
She got
floppy,
treats.
the floppy claw sounds like the business that a cousin of Mr. Krabs would open.
It sounds
Or
like the
like-
name of like a shady seafood place at the Jersey
I
Shore.
I was gonna say like in the bad part of the bad part of the Baltimore waterfront.
Is that where they have the nuclear ship?
Yes.
Look that up if you don't know. There's a nuclear ship in Baltimore. It's pretty cool.
So we are on the North Fork here, Nick.
We are.
And after your hometown.
Well, not my hometown, but
your home base right now.
my
Inspired,
home
inspired by
railroad.
your home base.
Yeah, home railroad. I've been growing in my N&W fandom.
And I'm just gonna hang out here on top of the boxcar coming in, so that way everyone can get the full look coming into Ahsoken and all of its glory.
Hey, Nick, do you want or do you know anybody that wants a speeder that would fulfill both of your home road dreams? At least in your current location? Because
Come again?
did you know any? Do you or does anyone you know want a speeder that would fulfill both of the home road dreams for the your current location? Because there was a
I-
second railroad that came into your current town.
Probably.
I have one that I need to get rid of.
Head on over to
Ah.
the station platform here of Grand Central Terminal here at Ahsokan.
Yes. Yes, it is so good to be back. Be back.
You got 6
In
cars
my-
to a stop.
My home, away from home. Where the deer and the buffalo roam. This is Ahsokan, ladies and gentlemen.
2
I
cars?
am its station
4
master.
cars. 4 cars.
And I serve in that duty with honor.
2 more cars. 1 more car. Come on, don't blow it. End of the stream. And far enough.
Is this on a grade?
Now this is flat.
Oh.
The grade was on the bridge.
Okay.
It's that finesse everyone gets wrong with the Eurekas. You gotta take a little set with the brakes well beforehand and let
Yeah,
it start slowing you down. Because the Eureka's very much reacts like a passenger engine, where if you gotta grab brake early and a little brake early and let it kind of do its thing, and it'll start slowing you down slowly. And then once you get down to like a crawl, the brakes will really grab on it. You need to shove back too.
Yep. Working on that. This is why I don't usually end the streams. But then again, to be fair to me, I have not run this in a good couple of months.
Yeah, me too. 1 more car. It was nice to be back on the passenger train. Half a car. Anywhere in here is gonna work.
I could swear I have the brakes on. It just really does not do much.
Grab your tender brake too.
Doing that already.
Alright, you gotta come ahead 1 car. And a half. There was a time at Christmas where we're spotting the train at the end of the night to put it away, and like I said, you have 3 feet of room to get it right. And it was with the conductor with the worst car counts and the engineer with the worst car counts.
Ouch.
And I'm gonna finish
Tell
this.
me they nailed it because they were both off by the same amount.
No, worse. Half a car. Anywhere in here. Beautiful.
Thank goodness.
Alright, pins pulled. Okay, ahead. So conductor goes, alright, engine, yada yada yada. Ahead. Yeah, far enough. Ah, no, you missed it by 3 feet. Engine, whatever, back 3 feet. Engine goes back 2 feet, 1 feet, stop. Engine, whatever. You missed it by 3 feet, bring it ahead 3 feet. Okay, and mind you, they're actually off by this much each time. It's like a 6-foot step box they need to land on, and they're overshooting 3 feet to either side. It goes back and forth like 4 times, 5 times, and conductor goes, alright, engine, bring it ahead 4 feet to a stop. 2 feet, 1 feet, and you hear the train go into emergency at 2 feet. And the conductor goes, everything okay up there? And the engineer just goes, did we get it? And they got it. but it took like 4 back and forths and the train getting thrown into emergency to hit the mark. Just, I love it. It is, it's fun, trying to hit that spot. And it's just 2 worst people ever to do it.
Practice
It-
makes perfect.
Bring it to a stop here, 98.
All right.
I realized something.
Oh,
We don't fit. We have to do this. I set this up to be a puzzle.
oh, we can't just shove the cars in.
No, because we gotta
Oh,
pick
but
those
we don't
off.
have the headroom.
Uh-huh. We need to leave these cars behind. Alright. I got the pin pulled on those, so I'm gonna kick them.
But we're just about at the end of our time anyway.
We are. So why don't we get these kicked? We'll head on up and check out the Ahsokan station house. And
Sounds good.
next crew can finish these up.
Good plan. When in doubt, leave it for the next crew.
That is always my motto 100% of the time.
It's like leaving it for the night shift. If the opportunity presents itself, sure.
100%.
Train 701 to dispatch. Or
Go ahead,
702 to
702.
dispatch. We're passing through Mohonk northbound.
Train 702 is through Mohonk northbound. And that was the world's slowest kick I gave us, I think. I thought that was gonna do a little bit more than that. Well, this is the switching puzzle list of switching puzzles.
Almost there. Like 1.5 cars will
So
be
close.
clear of the switch.
Train 60. What am I? 602 now?
You are 602.
To dispatcher.
Go ahead, 602.
I am at Rattling Valley waiting to depart northbound. I do not know if 70 whatever they are now has passed through yet or not.
702 has not passed there yet. They are inbound.
Okay. The switch is that line for them. They're clear through here.
Copy that. Switches line for 702.
Okay.
Alright, I'll get a handbrake here, Nick.
I've got one here.
Alright. Head on up and get that station building open.
Yes.
And we hope you enjoyed the stream tonight, folks, and our 100 level course into passenger train operations. As always, we'll be revisiting topics as we go and getting into the 200, 300, and 400 level courses. You'll be able to get your theses, and then the theses courses. Whatever those may be. Who knows? But this is the Ahsokan Station House, and in the grandest central terminal of ways. Can look
It is
out
a
at
marvel it is a marvel of over engineering, but this is one piece of engineering I 110% approve of.
I'm definitely going to be carrying this over in some fashion to the V2 railroad. I can just picture imagine having something like this set up. You got the local passenger train coming through, but that line continues up and hooks into the mountainside and runs on up to the coal mine and ties into the dev route. And just imagine seeing a 20-car coal train come flying through here. I think this spot has a lot of potential on a V2, and I'm excited to. I love the operational prospects of it, but also the rail fanning prospects of it. If I could put a virtual railfan camera up here, I would. And I think that says a lot.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a very distinct location.
it's it's very passenger trainy. It's a fun station. I like what Rudy Lowry was able to do up here. It's an enjoyable station. It's cool. It's fun, and it's a nice place to end our class on passenger trains. We got our wonderful California Zephyr cars here, and a little bit of switching to do, but 'tis the life of the local passenger train. And you've seen enough of Nick and I struggling to switch with two Eurekas. We don't want to put you through that misery anymore. But as always,
Indeed.
let us know on YouTube, on Facebook, if you want to see us cover a topic. We're completely open to user suggestions. We've have that's how we ended up doing yards. Is someone was talking about it, and asked about it, and we said, yeah, we'll do a mini stream on yards. So let us know what you want to learn about. Either drop it in chat before we end real quick, or drop a thing on Facebook. Drop a comment on the YouTube page. We want suggestions on what you guys want to see in the future.
Until then, thank you for tuning in with us tonight.
Yeah, I'm Professor Casey.
And I'm Professor Nick.
Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night. This was the Passenger Train 110. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.